Can ChatGPT tell if someone is underage just from a scanned text or document? Let's build a SwiftUI app that puts AI to the test. So this is the application we'll be creating. As you can see, it allows the user to authenticate a document using the person's age. So to show this feature, I will scan the document, which is a passport that was created via ChatGPT. Now we should extract the date of birth. It should show that the person is underage, they're less than 18. Since they're less than 18 years old, you can see that access has been denied and the date of birth is displayed. To enable the access, we will show someone that is over the age of 18. Created using ChatGPT too. I'll scan and extract the date of birth. As you can see, access has been granted. So this is the tutorial we'll be creating using SwiftUI, ChatGPT and AI prompting. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. The first thing we need to do is to create a new Swift file. And this Swift file will contain our response structs. So let's create that now. Name the file response. And then type in the following: struct open AI response, which is codable, since we'll be expecting to decode an array of JSON objects. Struct choice codable. That includes a message object, also we need to create a nested struct that represents a message inside each of our choices. Struct message codable, let content string, and this will include the full text response from ChatGPT. Let choices choice. So that means the API will return an array of choices. At the moment we're just working with one element, but we can still use an array. Struct AI age result codable, let DOB, which is date of birth, so date of birth will be string, let age int, is the person over the age of 18, that'll be boolean. the next view, the next struct we need to create is our scanner view. The purpose of the scanner view is to enable the user to extract the date of birth from the image. We also need to use Vision Kit. So let's create the view now. The scanner view now, Select Swift File, click on Next. Call the file scanner view. We also need to import SwiftUI and Vision Kit for the extraction. Now we can define our structs. Struct scanner view, which will implement UI view, controller, representable. And the reason to use UI view controller representable is to bridge the UI kit's functionality into SwiftUI. We next need to implement a completion. So that will be var completion string. And the purpose of that completion is to return the scanned text that will be extracted from the image or document. I think we need to create some stubs as well. Did it create it? No, let's just do it manually. Sometimes it creates it, sometimes it doesn't. Let's just do it manually then. Func make UI view controller that will return not some view, but it will be data scanner view controller. We want the data to be scanned from the document. Let scanner equals data scanner view controller, and then we have to pass our parameters. Which includes the recognized data types. So this will be text, and the quality level we want accuracy, correct? Accurate. But it's quality level, and then we also need to recognize different and multiple items, which needs to be set to false. But it's false. And we also need to include the next parameter, which is higher frame rate tracking enabled. And assign it or passing through. Also is guidance enabled. Which is true. And is highlight or highlighting enabled, which is true. Then we have to have a closing bracket at the end. I don't know why the accuracy is incorrect for the quality level. Let me type that again. Yeah, there's some problem with that one. That something else is missing. Do you want to add stubs, multiple stubs? Still showing an issue to do the quality level. So now that seems to be okay. So I had to copy and paste this block from the completed solution. So I had to pause the video to do that. Don't know what the issue was. It seemed like it was to do with the quality level or something was spelled incorrectly. The next thing we need to do is to assign the delegate so we can handle tap events. Scanner.delegate. So this is so we can tap on the actual scanner to extract the date of birth from the image or document. So that should be delegate equals context dot coordinator. And then we want to start the scanning immediately. Try scanner dot start scanning. And then we return an instance of the scanner. The next thing we need to do is to add a function within the update UI view controller. After the UI view update controller. So the function is func make coordinator, which will return the coordinator. Return, or we can do it this way, I think. Coordinator, completion. So that should be completion. And that will return the scanning results using the completion. For the coordinator, we need to create that class called coordinator that will inherit from NSObject and data scanner view controller delegate. Let's make it a bit neater with lines 15. I just bring it up to lines 13. We're not really using that function. And the next thing to do is to create the coordinator class. Let's do that now. We can do that after line 19. Class coordinator NSObject data scanner view controller delegate. We also need to create another completion variable. That will send the results back to SwiftUI via a closure. So it will send back a string that includes the scanned or extracted text. And then we need to create our initializer. And we need to create a function called data scanner. Data scanner. I have to implement that ourselves. So there's data scanner, data scanner, view controller, did tap on item that will accept a recognized item. And this is where we capture what was tapped on. Paste, let, text, text item, equals item, completion, text item dot transcript. Transcript includes the actual data. And yeah, for this file, I think that's it. So in the next tutorial, we will implement the other features that's needed for the application. Subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Can ChatGPT tell if someone is underage just from a scanned text or document? Let's build a SwiftUI app that puts AI to the test. So this is the application we'll be creating. As you can see, it allows the user to authenticate a document using the person's age. So to show this feature, I will scan the document, which is a passport that was created via ChatGPT. Now we should extract the date of birth. It should show that the person is underage, they're less than 18. Since they're less than 18 years old, you can see that access has been denied and the date of birth is displayed. To enable the access, we will show someone that is over the age of 18. Created using ChatGPT too. I'll scan and extract the date of birth. As you can see, access has been granted. So this is the tutorial we'll be creating using SwiftUI, ChatGPT and AI prompting. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will create our ChatGPT age verification class. The purpose of the class is to prompt OpenAI with the date of birth format and retrieve our response from OpenAI as a JSON payload. So now let's create a new Swift file. Name the file ChatGPT age verifier. Next thing we need to do is to define our class. But the first thing we need to do is import SwiftUI. Also import observation class ChatGPT verifier, and then we need to decorate it with observable so that makes sure all of the properties are automatically updatable and published to the UI. We need to create a few variables. Var access granted, which will indicate if the user is allowed to use the application or not. Var date of birth, text, string, and that will store the extracted date of birth as a string. Var is loading, false, and that shows whether the verification process is running or not. Var error message, string. And we also need our open AI key that we have to retrieve from OpenAI, ChatGPT, and we place it in there. To create our key, our API key, we need to navigate to this URL as highlighted in the browser. You can give your key an optional name, and then click on create secret, and then your key will be generated. When your key is generated, you can just copy it from the API key section, which is here. So when you have your key, you just paste your key somewhere here. As you know, as you probably can see anyway, this isn't my actual real key. The next thing we need to do to create a function, and the purpose of the function will enable the application to verify the user or to verify the user's age from the scanned in text or the extracted date of birth from the document. Scan text, which will be a string. The colon after from can be deleted. Next thing we need to do is to set is loading equals true. And also clear any previous error messages that we might have. Just set it to nil. Now we have to create our prompt that will be sent to ChatGPT. That's let prompt within a string. And the actual prompt is extract the date of birth from this ID text and say whether the person is over 18 or not. And then type in only return a JSON in this format. It should be returned. Also needs a colon. The next thing we need to do is to provide the JSON and the format. So the format is date of birth, which is our key, MM, which is month, DD, day, and 4-digit year. And also we need to supply the age, 21, and also over 18, true. We also need to include the ID text, which will include the scanned text that we're submitting to ChatGPT. The next thing we need to do is to create a payload body that will be sent to OpenAI. This will be a JSON payload. That JSON payload you can see we're sending a dictionary, and the model which will be GPT. So we'll be using ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. The message will have a role, which includes the user, content, and the prompt. So we send the prompt as a user message. Then we also have to set the temperature. The purpose of setting the temperature will enable ChatGPT to provide better results. So the temperature will be 0.2, and the temperature at 0.2, it will enable more consistent results and output, which is more reliable. So when the user does run the application and they scan their document, they will see a screen similar to this. So if the person's age, if the person is older than 17, if they're 18 or over, then it will display a verification as in access granted, as you can see here. So what do we have to do next? We need to convert the payload to JSON data and create the request to send the actual request now to ChatGPT. Guard let URL equals URL string. The endpoint is HTTPS API.open ai.com /v1 chat, and then completion. Completions, we need an S at the end, so it's completion. Let HTTP body equals try question mark JSON serialization data with JSON object, first one, and then we pass in our JSON payload. Else display an error message, self dot error message equals invalid request setup. And then we need to type in return to exit that function. So this needs to be submitted using post bar request equals URL request URL request.http method equals post request.set value and then we also need to pass in our bearer token, which is our OpenAI key that we created earlier. So that would be have our OpenAI key what did I call it? The Open AI. Which is needed for authorization. And also, we need to state the content type that we're sending, which is application JSON, application JSON, and then we just include content type. Request dot HTT body equals HTT body. In the next tutorial, we will perform the actual network call so that we can retrieve the actual JSON payload back, so that the user is able to log into the system if they're over 18. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Can ChatGPT tell if someone is underage just from a scanned text or document? Let's build a SwiftUI app that puts AI to the test. So this is the application we'll be creating. As you can see, it allows the user to authenticate a document using the person's age. So to show this feature, I will scan the document, which is a passport that was created via ChatGPT. Now we should extract the date of birth. It should show that the person is underage, they're less than 18. Since they're less than 18 years old, you can see that access has been denied and the date of birth is displayed. To enable the access, we will show someone that is over the age of 18. Created using ChatGPT too. I'll scan and extract the date of birth. As you can see, access has been granted. So this is the tutorial we'll be creating using SwiftUI, ChatGPT and AI prompting. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this part of the tutorial, we will perform the network call to OpenAI. So having set up our request that we done in the previous tutorial, we just need to type in the following: URL session .shared data task with request data response error in dispatch queue main async And then within that thread, we just type in self.isLoading equals false. And the purpose of setting that to false is to stop loading when we receive the response from the URL, from the API. We also need to handle any network failures that could happen. So we handle it using the guard statement. So if that happened, then we just put that onto the main queue, the main thread. Self.error message equals to no response from API, and that will be displayed on the view, and then we just return to exit the function. The next thing we need to do is to decode the Open API response. Decode it so that we can retrieve the actual key values. So we need to do results equals try JSON decoder decode Open AI response, which is our codable structure. Self from data. Let reply equals reply, and it should be result dot choices dot first dot message content. The next thing we need to do is to convert the response content to a string. If there should be a question mark on line 78 after the first. It should be here. If let JSON data equals reply dot data using dot UTF-8, let AI result equals try JSON decoder decode AI age result dot self from JSON data, and now we have decoded the results. We need to update the view model that contains the response from AI. Dispatch queue.main async self dot access granted equals AI result over 18. Self dot date of birth text equals AI results date of birth. So there we will just extract the date of birth and if they're over 18 or not. Then on lines 87 we need an else statement. Dispatch queue main or sync. And if we end up here, that means the application could not retrieve the response from OpenAI, could not pass AI response. Else dispatch queue main sync. This is for the error of could not decode ChatGPT reply. Self dot error message invalid response from OpenAI. Next thing we have to do is to make sure that we call resume to execute the request. Really, we could have done this using a sync and a wait instead. But what happened there? The next thing we will do is we will open the content view and implement our UI. So the first thing we need to do is type the following: @state private var view model equals ChatGPT verifier. So create an instance of our view model. We need another @state variable, @state private var show scanner is equal to false. That will decide whether or not to show our sheet. And then we need to implement our VStack on line 16. VStack spacing 20. See if the preview works. That's what we need to do, is to check if we're downloading anything at the moment. So we use the view model dot is loading. Progress view. Verifying. So it's in a loading state, so it's trying to retrieve the data. The JSON payload from ChatGPT. Else an error happened. We unwrap the error message and then display the error. Within the text element. Add the foreground color for the error. Now can we move the comma? That's not needed. That's not needed. The foreground color. Red. Else if let DOB, date of birth, view model, DOB text. If that contains a value, then we display the value. There's an error somewhere, missed out something. So on lines 20, it should be else if let error is equal to error message. So now we try to get the date of birth and then display it within the text element. And then we also display if the user is denied or has access to the application. If they're 18 or over, they have access to the application. But if they're younger than 18, then they will be denied access to the application. View model, that should be view model dot access granted. If it's granted, then it will display access granted. If access has not been granted, then access denied. Foreground color, view model dot access granted. If access granted, then the color will be green. If it's not, then yeah, it's red, an alert. Else, it displays the message, scan your ID to verify your age. So to enable the user to have access to the API, we need to create a button called Start Verification. And we need to include show scanner equals true. It will show the scanner so the user can extract their date of birth from their ID. Button style border or bordered prominent. We just add a bit of padding. And finally we add a sheet. Is presented $sign show scanner. That will show the scanner so the user can take the actual photo of their ID. Scanner view scanned text in. Show scanner equals false. View model dot verify using AI from scan text. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials.